Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Many women in our 60andMe community are looking for independence and freedom in their 60s, and this is one of the things we talk about a lot. But there's one element of freedom and independence that I think we don't talk about enough, and that is money. And I want to talk about financial freedom and how to give yourself a sense of independence and empowering you for a secure future. Now, it's a challenging time, and I know that a lot of us, myself included, did not prioritize saving for my future when I was working. And looking back on reflection, hindsight is 2020. I wish I'd done things very differently, but you don't know that at the time. You just don't know what is going to happen, and you don't know how to prepare for it. You are very much living in the present, especially if you've got children and family, and you're just trying to do the best that you can. But as you get older, financial freedom, having a financial base, having security is really, really important. So even if you haven't saved, even if you have got very little money in savings, and you really do want to get started with a financial freedom plan, for your future, then let's chat about it. There's no magic wands here. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do know enough from talking to people who are that there's some things that we can do. And I think that the context for this, though, I think is important. We're going to live longer. This is part of the joy of being an older woman in today's world, in the 2023 time zone, is that we are going to live longer, and technology is going to help us. Healthcare is going to help us. And excuse, by the way, the lights that are shining through here. I don't know whether I can actually even fix it because it's a beautiful day and the sun is shining. But anyway, hopefully it'll feel like I'm sitting in the garden with you and we're chatting. But anyway, lifespan is going to be longer, so let's appreciate that and be grateful for it, because it's going to give us an opportunity to travel, to have more beautiful moments on this earth. So having the money to be able to get through it and to live comfortably, and it may involve some changes. It may involve some shifts, some downsizing, some compromises, because if you're bringing in less money than you ever have in the past, and you have a constant requirement for outgoings, there's only one thing that you can do, and that is to, well, either put it on a credit card and just forget it all, which is a very dangerous thing to do, or spend less. And so there's some strategies I think that we've talked about many times here on 60andMe for saving, for budgeting. And I think I just remembered why it's not so bright. It's because I don't have my little light here with me. Maybe that will help. Okay, so it's all about taking control of your financial destiny and empowering yourselves for a fiscally secure future. Now, having a clear vision, setting goals as to what you want in your 60s is one of the first things you can do. It may involve some changes, as I've said. You may need to move into a smaller place. You may need to take in a lodger, or somebody renting a space in your home. It may take just having to make cuts on the food that you buy, the way that you shop, the way that you share your money, perhaps with people that you've been helping throughout your life. And you need to have that vision, though, of what your retirement is going to look like. That's where you start. Now, if you just really can't decide that you want to leave your house, or you want to make a move, or you want to do, then you're going to have to just, living aging in place is going to have to be a measure of saving money, doing things with less. But if you want to have a more expansive future, you want to deal with your financial reality, you may have to move. You would have to setting goals will help you to define that. Once you've defined your vision, and how much you're prepared to do in terms of your environment and your setting as you get older, is to actually implement those goals in action. And that means, I hate to say it because nobody wants to do this, right? Creating a budget. You've got to create a budget, and you've got to track your expenses. You've got to assess your financial situation and start tracking. Now, I know people that look kind of, well, I was this person for many years, and I still am to a certain degree. I'm living month to month. I'm saving. I'm making a point to save a little bit every month now, because that's and I'm investing some money, but I pretty much live, what I earn is what I spend. And that is the way that many people do it. But if you are not tracking your expenses, you'll find yourself at the end of the month thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't remember that direct deposit was coming out, or I didn't remember that this phone bill was going to appear on the 21st of every month, and I didn't budget for it. You've got to know, where your money is going. You've got to know where you're spending it. And you've got to have a budget. Now, for me, I've got some very were like large, things I could talk about in terms of, my living situation. I live in one room. I don't have, I have a very expensive rent relative to what a studio would get in other parts of the world, but I'm here in Switzerland and I'm happy and I'm making it work. But one of the things that I spend a lot on is beauty products. And I do it sometimes. I justify it by saying, oh, I want to do a video for 60andMe and I need to purchase every single item in this. But then I have to stop myself and say, no, the average woman in my community is not spending $500 on a group of products. And so that's not where I should be putting the attention. My videos are like, okay, I've got this, group of Wet n Wild products and they're affordable, they're drugstore. I'm going to do a video showing how you can make that look beautiful and how you can make that work. So I have to be super careful that I'm not overextending my budget because I think that I have to perform in a certain way for someone else, or that I have to show something to other people that means I have money or that I can afford something. I don't spend my money on expensive clothes, for example, but you have to, anyway, once you've decided what your vision for what you're willing to do in your retirement, how you're willing to live, you've got to then have a budget. Know where your money's going, when it's going out, and what those triggers are, what those things are that you buy more than you need of. And then you've got to sort of start helping yourself to get some discipline and the ability to say no, and to have no buy months or no buy years. You've got to decide that's not going to be in your circle of possibility anymore. You may have been able to do that in the past, but not now. So understanding and managing debt is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of you are facing. And I think I've done another video on this a while ago, because when I moved, this is 10 years ago, of course, but when I moved to Switzerland, I had a lot of debt. I hadn't even just started 60andMe. I had left my full-time career in corporate world, so I was working as a consultant, and I had some debts with credit cards, particularly. And I think I'd mentioned this before, but I'll go over it again because for me, it was really a lifesaver for me, and it changed the way I looked at money. And that was when I started to realize that I could have conversations with the people that I owed money to. They weren't like anonymous credit cards or anonymous. I could have a conversation with a person. And so I started a practice. It took me years. I'm not kidding you. It took me several years to get to the point where I was debt free. And I'm still not completely debt free. I've got a little bit on a credit card or two, but I pay every month and I've got control of it. But I decided that I would contact all my credit card companies and all my debtors, and I would work out payment plans. And I know that this seems so ridiculous to even, why didn't I think of that earlier? But I just didn't even think, I didn't want to face up to the debt. That was the secret, or that was the issue. And so I went and talked to everybody. And when I got to talk to people on the phone, I imagined them like me, just sitting there at a desk. They were working, and they weren't trying to be mean. They weren't trying to be difficult with me. They were just reading from a script book for their job, and they were unable to give me some things that I wanted. Like I wanted interest-free payback, because I tried paying back in small amounts and paying the huge interest rates, which just totally ate up the payment. So I worked and worked until I was able to get interest-free payments. And they will do this for you. Not everybody, and I'm not saying this is the only way to deal with debt, but you've got to basically deal with the debt and face it, confront it, talk to people as human beings. Be strategic about it. If you get an answer that's not positive, then you need to just sort of say, well, what are my options? And then what you do, this is a really good trick, is you stop talking. What are my options? And sometimes they'll come back and say, well, you don't have any options, honey. You got to pay this, whatever. You're going to get people that are just going to say, well, here's the line. And then you have to work with that. But if you can, I found more often than not, I was able to have a conversation that took me to a place where I was in a better position than I started. So you've got another thing, if you don't want to face that and you've got like lots of credit card debt, is to look at sources of alternative income. And this is one that we've talked about many times. In fact, if you go to 60andMe website, by the way, at the top of the website, there's a search bar. Some people don't find this, and I actually think it's too small, to be honest, is that you just type in financial security or side hustles or income, new forms of income. You'll find lots of articles. But that's another thing you can do if you don't have the money in the bank to pay your debtors off, but deal with debt. who am I to talk? Honestly, I feel like I'm just being such an imposter here because I went through such trauma with it that, I get it. I totally get it. But exploring new job opportunities, new income. And by the way, we are fortunate that we live in a world where there's plenty of online work that could be done. And I know you may push back and say, well, I don't want to work. I'm 65, I've retired, but maybe just a little 20-hour week or 10-hour week is going to just give you that amount, that little extra that you need to put a teeny bit away to try to solidify your living situation where you are, and just do some work for others. I mean, volunteering is great and it's a great way to meet people, but try to do something that's going to bring in a little money. Sort of embracing entrepreneurship. I mean, there's a lot of fun in it. And I started my business when I was 64. So I am 74 now, and it took a lot of work. I was actually looking at my emails the other day, just the effort that I put into 60andMe, that we put into the effort with 60andMe, and just the hard work it took. And I'm glad that I did it because it allowed me now to embrace a simpler lifestyle, a more minimalist lifestyle based on having something that I love to do. I get enough to live on, and also that I'm actually managing my debt. I've managed my debt and making progress. So I feel like I've got a good base for the future. And that's what it's all about: financial freedom, for the future. And that you're going to live a while. You want to enjoy these last years, 20, 30 years that you have in your opportunity here, and to be free of financial worry. If you've got some secrets, things that you did, things that you could share with the community, please do. And if you like this video, do me a huge favor and like it, or leave a comment. That's even better. And because that's how our friends at YouTube share the video. And there are so many thousands, millions of women that are not watching 60andMe yet that could benefit from these discussions and conversations. So have a great day, everybody. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of your financial reality. Try to create a solution for the future, and let us know how you're doing, okay? Take really good care. Sending you lots and lots of love.